As I begin reading Roya's account of what happened, I attempt to grasp its meaning, well enough to translate it from Farsi into English. Yet, her letter is so profound, so meaningful, so deep that I find myself sobbing. Okay, no, stop. Learn from her courage. Be strong. I start again. I should note that this is an unauthorized translation, so the weight of her letter won't fall solely on my shoulders. But how can anyone outside Iran, unfamiliar with its inhumane, lawless behavior of the Islamic regime, truly comprehend? How can I convey that I know as a fact, if I were in her place, I might have just caved in and begged for forgiveness? In that dictatorship atmosphere, Roya, you have the heart of a lioness.
Together with my lawyer, we went to the courthouse of District 7. We passed through the entrance gate. I removed my hijab and proceeded to Branch 1 for the enforcement of the verdict. The branch employee advised, "Put your headscarf on to avoid any trouble." I retorted, "I came here for this exact reason. I won't put it on." A call was made and the enforcement officer came upstairs instructing, "Put on your hijab and follow me." I responded, "I won't put it on." He countered, "So you won't. I'll whip you in a way that you'll realize where you are and we'll open a new case for you and you'll have 74 more lashes." Still, I refused to comply. Descending downstairs, additional individuals were brought in for consuming alcohol. The man in charge repeated authoritatively, "Didn't I tell you to put it on?" I stood my ground. 2 women wearing chadors arrived, pulling the scarf over my head. Again, I pulled it down. This was repeated several times until they handcuffed me from the back and put the hijab back on my head. We proceeded to the basement garage area. There was a room at the end of the garage where a Muslim judge, an enforcement officer, and a woman in chador awaited. The woman sighed and expressed understanding. I know.
The following section of Roya's letter is referring to the Blind Owl book. I haven't read it. Okay, I better get on it. Checking Amazon. The latest version is available on Audible, approximately 3 hours long. I purchased it and listened to it. 3 hours later, and throughout the entire time I spent listening, I came to realize the profound understanding that Roya possesses. It leads me to reflect on Woman Life Freedom Uprising. I refer to Mina Khani. She says, "The cornerstone of the Islamic regime is the hijab. After the Iranian Revolution in 1978, the first action of the revolutionaries was revolutionary executions, and the second was the mandatory hijab." Mina also refers to jurisprudence as ideology, in which Valerie Koresh asks how people who are put down, let down, and kept down by the law can be taught to have a general political obligation to obey it. And this is how the Islamic regime in Iran has lasted 45 years. Going back to the Blind Owl book, Peddler is a character in Blind Owl, described as a hunched old man, ugly, shattered, and lifeless, wearing a cape and turban, sitting under the cypress tree, separated by a stream from a young, beautiful woman in black, who is bending down to offer him a water lily.
The judge chuckled at me, evoking memories of the blind owl and the peddler. I turned my head. They opened an iron door, revealing a cement-walled room. Towards the back, a bed stood equipped with handcuffs and iron bands welded to both sides. Adjacent to it, there was a device resembling the base of an easel. It was a room reminiscent of medieval torture chambers. The judge asked, "Are you okay? Do you have any problems?" As if he didn't exist, I offered no response. He said, "Lady, I'm talking to you." Still, I remained silent. The executioner instructed me to remove my coat and lie on the bed. I hung my coat and hijab on the easel-like device. He then commanded, "Put on your hijab." I declared, "I won't. Just place your Quran under your arm and strike me." The woman implored, "Please don't be stubborn," and pulled the scarf back over my head. The man retrieved a black leather whip from the collection behind the door, wrapping it around his hand twice as he approached the bed. The judge instructed not to strike too hard. The executioner proceeded to lash my shoulders, back, buttocks, thighs, and calves, and then again and again. As the blows continued, I lost track of their count. I was quietly singing. In the name of woman, in the name of life, the fabric of oppression has been torn. Our dark night will turn into dawn, and their whips will become our axes. The whipping ended. I made sure they didn't discern any pain from me. Such insignificant individuals. We ascended to the judge for sentence execution. I removed my hijab at the door. The woman trailing behind instructed, "Please put it on." I refused. She pulled it back over my head. In the judge's chamber, he stated, "We're not pleased about this situation, but it's the verdict, and it must be executed." I offered no reply. He said, "If you wish to live differently, you can live abroad." I asserted, "This country belongs to everyone." He continued, "Yes, however, laws must be observed." I replied, "Let law do its mean, while we persist in our resistance." We left the room, and I took off my hijab.
Roya, your resilience, courage, and strength are legendary. I've lost count of how many times they tried to force the hijab back on your head, and each time you stood firm. Yes, our issue is the hijab. You told them to proceed with whipping because you refused to obey. You are a role model for all of us. Your steadfastness teaches us that they cannot continue punishing and silencing people into obedience. Their grip is slipping, and that is thanks to courageous women like you in Iran. I am grateful to you for this invaluable lesson. Woman, life, freedom.